Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Swapna, and it's a fourth lecture of legal aspect in marketing management, that is online marketing and CRM. GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Regulation, it is a monitoring to the governing of cookies. Let us see. A GDPR aims to give users greater right over their data through the strength notification and a consent guideline. A string notification and a consent guidelines. It is essential cookies, the performance cookies and a functionality cookies are often used on the basis of a GDPR. The legitimate the interest or for the fulfillment of a contract. The user's consent is a mandatory for these cookies, and as per the Article of 12 of the GDPR needs to be clearly outlined through the accessible policies. GDPR helps to the customers. Data should be protected. The next is the EU cookie law. The EU, that is European Union, the cookies law is an adaptation of the EU, the e-privacy directive. This the legislation that governs a digital privacy throughout the European Economic Area, that is known as the EEA. Now see the CCCA, that is the California Consumer Protection Act, and cookies. The complaint cookie policy must include the following information. First, the types of cookies used within the websites, the categories of the personal information the website collects, the purpose for collecting that information, the retention period of that information, and the third parties that provide the script behind the cookies. See the steps that the company can take to develop a best practice cookie, cooking policy, cookies policy. Let us see the steps that the company can take to develop a best practice a cookie policy. The first is audit and classify your cookies. The many websites run more the tracking cookies than they realize. If you are not sure the exactly what cookies are on your site, it's impossible to describe your cookie practices to users. Not only should you make an effort to discover which cookie you use, but you should then classify those cookies by their purpose, for example, the categories or the types of cookies the mentioned above. The second is disclose your cookie practices to users. Cookies are used to collect personal information, which means they need to be disclosed in your privacy policy. The current cookie and data privacy laws, like the EU cookie law, requires you to also provide a cookie policy which fully outlines your use of cookies. This policy should reference your cookie audit, discoveries, and classifications, the detailing exactly which cookies you use and for what purposes. And the third step is get consent before deploying cookies. Another measure you need to take in order to comply with the EU cookies law, and the GDPR is getting user consent to how you use cookies. There are the three elements of the legally valid cookie consent. The first is affirmation that the user is aware and consenting to the user of cookies. The option for users to set their cookie preferences. The ability to revoke consent at any time. Let us see the security and confidentiality of client data while online marketing. The first is security must be a focal point. Every department must adhere strictly to the security protocol and the data safety that the risk of the data the breach can be made minimal. Collect only data you will use. Collect the only information which is needed. Sensitive information should not be collected by users. Such type of information can be cause a security losses. Hence, the sensitive data should not be collected. The next is don't store customer credit card information. Don't collect and store the customer's credit card information online. The restrict data access. The data access should be restricted and the employees whose job does not require access to confidential information must not be given access. Only authorized employees can use that data. The fifth is secure password and safety for a data access. There should be rigorous authentication policy as well as a strong password procedure. The next is protect the network because information is required at every level. The most companies provide a remote access to a people. It has been noted that companies must have a strong endpoint security and also restrict a remote access to only the preferred personnel. The next is stay up to date with security patches. Application and software which are not updated to the latest versions are a hack foam. They can be easily perpetrated by hackers who exploit the existing vulnerabilities in order versions to their benefits. The hackers have in their possession software that can crawl the websites and trace systems or websites that are not adequately secure. Next is HTTP plus SSL is equal to HTTPS. SSL, that is a secure sockets layer. The encryption is the best form of online security you can provide your customer. The SSL certificate can help the prevent hackers from interrupting information exchange between the web browser and a server. The next is employee training. Your data security plan may look great on paper, but It's only as strong as the employee who implement it. Take time to explain the rules to your staff and train them to spot security vulnerabilities. The next is a security practices of contractors and service providers. Prepare the contract and put the security expectations. And the last is a provide a forum for complaints. Provide forum for complaints to log their privacy problems or customers or the concerns.